Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the SMART series on international education. This is our second Facebook Live event from Global Indian International School here at the SMART Campus, Singapore, where we guide parents, students. Now, tonight, we will be focusing more on the IB Primary Years program. And we are so delighted to announce that we have recently been authorized to offer the IB Primary Years program in both of our campuses. I am Odaya Ranido. I am the PYP coordinator of Global Indian International School at East Coast Campus. And with me tonight is my counterpart, Manju.
Hello, I am Manju Nair and I am the Primary Years Coordinator at the GIIS Smart Campus in Punggol. So together, Odaya and I, between us, I think we have about 40 years of experience in the IB Primary Years program. But what we are going to do is to unpack what the Primary Years program is and give you a little understanding about starting from the history of the Primary Years program. So to start off a little bit about the history of the Primary Years program. Well, the Primary Years program started off by the IB organization, the International Baccalaureate Organization. The very first program that the IB offered is the diploma program for 16 to 19-year-olds. This was designed to be a global and a truly international program, which national curricula. And it had its own ethos and philosophy, right, which did resonate a lot with people around the world.
Yes.
And it did become a gold standard in education, giving children an opportunity to do extremely well in universities because of the broad-based education that it offers. And it definitely developed skills, research skills and real-life skills. Philosophy and the ethos should trickle down to the primary years, yes, right, where Odaya and I work in with the age. The Primary Years program is for the age group of 3 to 12-year-olds. And as a response to the diploma program and its popularity, in 1996, a group of educators from Europe, mostly heads of schools and policymakers, sat down and an ideal international program for this age group. And that's how they formulated the IB Primary Years program. Now, it may have been a response to the other programs in the IB. Subsequently, the Middle Years programs came into being, yes, and so did the Career program. But even though it may have been a response to the diploma program, the IB Primary Years program,
yes,
and I think that spine of that is the learner profiles.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this set of 10 attributes, 10 values that we really want students to develop, and actually not just students, okay? Our students, our teachers, yeah, our staff, our leadership team, our management,
everybody in
exactly,
an organization.
Everybody in the school needs to develop, okay? And these are attributes like being caring, okay, being caring towards the environment, towards other people, being reflective, and that happens a lot in our classroom, okay? So we try to build these values within our curriculum itself. Absolutely. And also in our real life situation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at home we get parents to also talk about these attributes of the IB learner profile and how they can build on them on a day-to-day basis.
So it's something like the core values,
yes,
of the IB.
They are the core values. And it's not just for PYP, it's for the entire 4 programs, yeah, of the IB. IB.
Yeah. So which one is your favorite learner profile, Odaya?
Well, I should say I am more of a principled
right,
learner.
I can see that.
And yeah, individual, yes, and caring as, right, well. Right. I think most of my teachers also say that, you know, right,
I think I'm a risk taker, and
yes,
I think people can tell. Yeah, it
is.
really resonates with me, and the
Yes.
fact that risk-taking is celebrated in the IB, it was something that it really attracted me to the program right from the beginning. Yeah. So, yes, that the learner profile is something common. There are other things that are common
There
in
are.
all the IB programs, but unique about it. So, what occurs to you when we talk about what stands out for you when we talk about the IB Primary Years program? What is that one thing that you feel, yeah, is the culture or the purpose
Yes, of
the
the entire
PYP?
PYP.
Yeah.
And I think it's the entire goal of IB itself. From the mission of IB itself, we are trying to build students to have international individuals who really know how to respect themselves, respect other cultures, respect each other and the environment as well. Okay, so this is, I think, the core of the four programs.
Absolutely,
Right? And
yeah.
it's like the IB mission in
Yeah.
itself. And being in GIIS as well, that is also one of our mission, right? That is also
Absolutely,
our
absolutely,
mission, to create students to become good.
Is that the IBO does not run any schools,
No.
but it works with schools there where they can find this synergy, this like-mindedness. So GIIS, with its vision of being a global role model in teaching and learning, that it can encompass, or it can it can involve the IB mission statement in its own mission and vision, right? So
That's
that
true.
synergy is what they find. AIS are looking for also, and we do focus on the international mindedness a lot.
Yes.
Right? Even yes, it comes out through diversity by embracing diversity, but even when there isn't diversity, international mindedness does happen, right, Odaya?
It does, it does. Okay, it's more of our way of thinking as
Yeah.
well. Okay, our response to the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you think of, I want to talk a little bit, I really want to
Yes.
unpack this international mindedness part of it. So, can you think of any examples of how we use or how we encourage international mindedness in our schools?
Okay. When we say, like for example, if we talk about culture, usually we only talk about flags.
Yep.
No, we talk about countries only. But always give them opportunities to actually get to know other people. You know, connect with other people from different cultures, and put your shoes in. Put their shoes in
yourselves in their shoes, yeah.
yourself in their
Perspective
shoes.
taking. We're always
Exactly.
talking about perspective taking. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So even as young as a as a grade 1 PYP 1 child, we always give them that sense of belonging, and
That's right.
making them understand that although we are very different,
Yeah.
we come from different countries, different backgrounds, but at the same time we are all human, and
Yeah.
we have common
Yeah.
aspects.
Yeah. And it is quite explicit. We look at the units of inquiry, which is our way of teaching. We have a program of inquiry, and and the program of inquiry consists of units of inquiry. And every time we unpack a unit of inquiry, we look at things through a global perspective. We look at things through the home country perspective of where
exactly.
the students come, because international students do come from various parts of the
Yes,
world.
they
Even
do.
if they are ethnically similar, they do
Yes.
still come from different parts of the world. And we look at things from the host country. So there's a lot of looking at Singapore as a context
Yes.
in our inquiry.
And I
right?
think that also resonates a lot, because we will not be able to, apply what we learn globally, perhaps,
Yeah.
but we can take it within our
Right.
community. Okay,
Right,
so if
yeah.
we're learning about recycling, for example, we will not think about how to solve. We have to
Yeah.
start with ourselves, perhaps, or at home, or within our community.
Right, yeah. Great. I think now I'm a little bit more satisfied about how much we talked about the international mindedness.
Yes.
The other thing that really stands out for me is the transdisciplinary learning,
Yes.
and that perhaps is quite unique to the
Very
primary years program, right? And maybe we should unpack a little bit of what transdisciplinary means.
Yes.
So the IB, the diploma program is a broad-based multidisciplinary program. The middle years program is an interdisciplinary program in the sense that we try to find connections between two different disciplines or subjects.
Correct.
But the primary years program is transdisciplinary. So that really goes beyond just putting all the disciplines together, doesn't it,
Yes,
Odaya? It's
yes.
sometimes about rising above.
Using your learning on the different concepts from these different disciplines or different subjects,
Absolutely.
and then applying them into a different context.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah, so that transcendence is very, very important. Transcending from the subject divides is very important for students as they grow up into real life work in their real life or in their workplaces, because
Yes.
real life isn't divided into these.
I thought, like when I was growing up, I always thought, why is algebra important? Why do I need to learn this?
Right.
But through this program, through this concept, learning in this manner, it makes sense to the child, and they
Yeah.
are able to actually relate to it.
That's right. That's right. And connect the different disciplines. So that's
Exactly.
really what transdisciplinary learning is. And that's a sort of a segue into the new Director General of the IB, who happens to be Finnish. Is that Finland exemplifies this whole transdisciplinary way of education. So in fact, they don't even mention subjects, right? So in PYP, we don't go that far because we actually want to ensure that the rigor in each of the subjects takes place, especially in our school. We are very particular that the rigor in the sciences, science, social studies, mathematics, English, and the core subjects and other subjects. We also offer music and dance. I think the Global Indian International School is pretty special because it offers multiple language offerings for students. Yes, we want rigor in each of these things. So we do talk about that, but we do find ways of transcending the subject divides through our units of inquiry, because there's always a central idea, a bigger idea, an enduring understanding that they need to. So that's the international mindedness and transdisciplinary learning are definitely two of the elements of the PYP Odaya.
But we do have a lot. We have
more. We could talk about this for 2 days, right?
can.
There's a lot. So we will take maybe just some of the key ones, right?
Yes,
and maybe we start with the concept-based.
Yes.
Because you just said that.
Yes.
You just said that this kind of transdisciplinary connections can. Let's unpack a little bit about that. What are you thinking about when you think about concept-based? How do we promote concept-based education in our class? How do we make that happen? Yeah.
Yep. So in the PYP, we have 7 key concepts that we call it. Okay, we have form, we have function, we have reflection, not reflection, but form, function, connection, responsibility, causation. Okay, these key concepts actually give room. Okay, so there will be instances where we reflect on these key concepts and how these apply to our current learning. Okay, or they are also the ones that drive the entire inquiry.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we do in classes, as we unpack, like what you mentioned a while ago, when we unpack our themes, we look at what are the concepts that we are really picking out from the transdisciplinary themes themselves.
Right.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned the transdisciplinary themes, right? Yeah.
We have 6 transdisciplinary themes.
Transdisciplinary themes.
In my class at the moment, I am teaching grade 5 as well, PYP 5. So I'm actually now, we go through our unit on exploration.
Right.
Okay, so if we look at that that unit itself, it's actually under the theme Where We Are in Place and Time.
Right.
Okay, so we have been looking at different explorers, the ancient explorers,
Yeah.
you know, where have they been to, why did they explore and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the
Won't
same
you,
time,
won't you agree that when you work that way, I'm getting so excited listening to you talk about that. When you work that way, you go way beyond the text in the knowledge that you know, children and us. And I also was sensing this when you were you know, talking about the fact that we learn so much.
Yes.
So it's
At
not
the
just the
same time.
students, because
Yes.
yeah, I could see that excitement because you are learning. You said
I
you're
know.
journeying with the children.
I am journeying with them, and I'm actually learning a lot from them as well at the same time. Okay, compared to when we were young in a different program. You know, I was growing up in a different school, different programs, and but now in the PYP, when I look at how my students are actually, you know, inquiring and learning and finding out for themselves, I believe that that really resonates with them, and they will remember it all throughout.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the PYP program is not only fact and content based; it's also concept based. And this, researchers say, is really, really important for, again, I'm repeating myself, but for remembering things 20 years from now.
Yes.
Which, you know,
I
I don't remember a lot of what I have studied.
I learned in high school even.
Right, yeah. And,
but that also comes to that setting where our teachers in the school are not the only source of information as well, right?
Yes.
They don't teach per se,
Exactly.
but they usually just facilitate learning. Okay, so we look at what the students are their understanding. Okay, and we work together. It's not just teacher leading the entire inquiry or the entire 6 weeks of learning, but we involve students in the planning, in everything.
Parents
as
you
well,
know,
yes,
so we
exactly.
literally look at the world as our classroom, because we do reach out from various resources. It could be people, it could be places, it could be time, right? And it could be a lot.
Wishing that, you know, I could be primary
me too,
student again and go through this program as a student.
But I think that's why we chose this.
And we have stayed, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that leads me to talk about the inquiry, because you brought that word out.
Yes.
Inquiry and concept-based education, or rather inquiry approach, fits in beautifully. It has to be inquiry. It has to be through questions.
The fact itself that we don't have a textbook, that opens up the entire, you know, the entire thing, everything just opens up. We are not limited to just that.
That's right. Today somebody asked me, in fact, what inquiry cycle do you use? Is it the, you know, and he mentioned a particular name. I'm not going to say that, because, you know, one name of an inquiry cycle, because there are many out there. And I said that, see, we are not that rigid. And where the process is concerned, we open it up. We, you know, our students sometimes design a cycle, an inquiry. Once they understand what the inquiry process is like, then they come up with a process. What are the processes involved, and they define it. We do that with the design cycle.
Exactly, and I saw one of your class doing it, right? They were
the
prominently
design cycle
displayed in the classroom. Oh, that's so lovely. So lovely to actually see students doing that.
So that brings me to action. That when understanding is meaningful, significant, relevant, then
we have to do something about
it. We have to do something, because we have understood,
Yes.
you know, the implication, you know, of that theme or that topic or whatever the central idea is. So they've understood the impact of the what the inquiry they were involved in, right? So it could be anything from migration to pandemic. It could be anything. So this leads students to take countless examples of students having taken action quite spontaneously. You know, sometimes action is small, sometimes it's quite significant and big. Sometimes it involves advocacy, sometimes it involves changing things, sometimes it involves a campaign, and sometimes it just involves, like you say,
change of practice, change of, you know, attitude towards something.
But you had a great story, Odaya.
I do.
Do you want to share that?
Yeah. he was in my PYP5 class last year, and of course now he has moved on to grade 6, CLSP. So this boy really has so many friends all over the world. Okay, he maintains connection to all of his friends. All right, and then he has this friend whom he lost because of cancer.
Oh.
Okay, so because of that, it led him to actually create a platform. So involve everyone in the community.
Right.
Okay, so he has gone to ask teachers, his classmates, the entire school to actually support his drive. Okay, and he has participated in this platform called Hair for Hope. So he has grown his hair for the past few months, 3 or 4 months, and then just recently with a bald hair, and he was like excited, and he was like sharing, Miss Odaya, you know what, I've cut my hair and I have donated my hair for this, just to give this awareness that we are here for each other. Okay, so, and he also mentioned that he has raised funds of about 5,000 plus
Wow.
dollars. Okay, just
Right.
and you can see in his face, I am very proud of himself.
Right.
He's only 10 years old.
Right,
Okay, no,
right.
11 actually.
Right,
He's
right,
just
right.
turned 11 years
Right,
old. Okay, so
It's a-
as young as 11,
Yeah.
and they already are working towards.
And that's
that kind of-
amazing. It's amazing. There's countless stories. I have one where very recent, and that's why it's fresh in my mind. So there
Yes.
is grade 3 student in our school who, during the holidays, she decided to set up a flea market in the void. Was that, well, she wanted to do something during the holidays, but she was inspired by a flea market and a drive that was raising funds, a drive to raise funds that we had done in the school. So so she replicated that, right?
Okay.
So she brought out some books and old clothes, and she put them out, and she tried to raise money by selling them.
Okay.
Now she said that when she first set it up, and she had a few friends helping her out, she was figuring out ways of attracting customers. So what she did was she brought a little bird, and she put it in a little box and left it there, and people were attracted to the bird. So they came to see the bird, and then they realized there was a flea market.
Okay,
right? And
wow, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. And she sold the books, raised $52.
Wow.
And she then talked to her mother about it, and her mother took her, runs the community center, and this lady came and she said, okay, we'll give you a piece of land. So she explained to her why she raised the money. She says because she wants a garden, a community garden.
Wow,
So
wow.
this lady came and gave her a little plot of land, and now she's going to buy seeds and saplings, and they're going to
that's
start on this
nice.
gardening. And all this came from 8 years old.
Yes.
And this is so beautiful. This is one aspect of PYP, which is
And when you hear also give that nudge to other students or other people in their community as well, that if she can do it, why can't I, right?
Exactly.
And we're not talking about big action, we're talking about little things that you can do on your own is okay.
Yeah.
And the minute you have groups of friends with you, then it becomes more of a bigger project then.
Exactly. And the children, when they or rather they embark on things like this only when they have agency, don't you? Element of the primary years program, especially in our enhanced PYP, because the PYP itself is going through changes, and that's what the IB and the PYP is. It's constantly, I wouldn't say reinventing itself, because it comes from a very strong philosophy, a very strong ethos, but it's constantly looking at best practices, it's constantly looking at research to inform it.
Yes.
Right? And that's why there is no dull moment, because we have to constantly keep updating.
Those are also lifelong learners.
Constantly, yes, exactly.
Grasping for, new information, new practices.
Absolutely. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about agency.
Yes.
What does it mean to you, Odaya? What is agency? How do you see it? I know the IB defines it, the
Yes,
PYP defines
yes.
it, but how do you see it?
Well, in the classroom itself, I always, say that when we say agency, it's giving opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to actually act or to actually give their voice and their
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Okay. In whatever that we do in the class or in the school. Okay, and even our teachers as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Teacher
we're giving
agency.
them, yes, we're giving them that opportunity to actually give their ideas and not be afraid of,
Right.
of putting it forward and trying it out. You
Right,
see,
right.
so
Yeah.
for me that is how.
Yeah. Mistakes.
Yes.
When you give agency, which you don't have to give agency, but it is deeply embedded in the way we work. But when there is agency, rather, not giving agency,
when there
is agency, all that happens automatically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was very skeptical at the beginning because, being in that structured kind of program where I know where I'm going, I have my lesson plan previously, we know this is what we want to achieve at the end of 6 weeks. How do you think we can reach to that?
Right.
Even the plans on assessments, we involve them
That's
in that
right.
as
Peer
well.
assessment and
Yes.
self-assessment.
How are
and
we going to
absolutely.
know that we have learned this big concept already? And
Yeah.
getting that from students is amazing.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
just say amazing.
Yeah.
I've
So
never thought that they would be able
Right.
to.
Right. So
You
it's
see?
not. So it's not just in teaching and learning. I think agency is part of everything that we
Yes.
do. The routines,
Yes.
giving them voice and choice. And it's only when you give voice and choice, or only when voice and choice is offered as part of the environment, that they will take responsibility.
They
Because
will
there
do
is that ownership there.
Yes,
right?
ownership, correct.
Yeah, and that's something that I really, really love about the way we practice teaching and learning. So let's talk GIIS itself, and yes, congratulations to you
Congratulations
and
to
to me
you
for,
as well.
for the authorization.
But it's more of the whole team's effort,
Absolutely,
right? I'm not
absolutely.
saying that, because of us. No, it's the entire team of teachers, parents, and students as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we are an authorized program after 2 years of candidacy.
Yes.
Was it? I think it was the
It was
same
2 years.
period
It was the
for
same
both
period, yeah.
the East Coast campus and the Punggol campus.
Yes, it was.
And we are in our 3rd year now. Mature program here, and I think that's largely because of the teaching faculty that we have.
Exactly, I should say that. Yes, hats off to all of our
It's
teachers.
an amazing
in both
team that we
campuses.
have. It's an amazing team we have who have, they have come with a lot of teaching experience from various other curricula, but then they have embraced the PYP so beautifully. They understand it conceptually and they practice it almost flawlessly.
Yes, and they want to know whether there are any workshops that's happening online, or whether there's
Absolutely.
anything that we can participate in.
Yeah.
They're really,
Reaching out.
reaching out.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not just saying, okay, we are already at that point, at that
Right,
stage. No,
right,
no, they constantly, like I said,
Yeah.
they are all lifelong learners
Yes,
as well.
and they are the stars of our program, no
Yes.
doubt. So I think
Yes.
that's what makes the GIIS PYP program stand out, definitely. And it's not just our opinion; it's been the opinion of a lot of So
And from our
yeah.
parents as
And
well.
our
They
parents,
are really
yeah.
giving us the feedback almost, instantaneously as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. But people alone don't do it, Odaya. So you need the infrastructure.
Yes.
You need a management that believes in
In
their
the
program,
program. And
which
in
we
the
are very
philosophy.
fortunate to
Yes.
have that.
Yes.
Though the PYP is the new baby
Yes.
in terms
But
of the
all
curricula
support we're
that
really
GIS
given.
offers, but we have we already have the facilities. I mean, the campus is so well equipped for delivering a program like PYP, which requires a lot of resources. It cannot be, unfortunately, done without the support and the resources. So maybe we could talk about some of those facilities and resources that we have.
We are at the moment. Where were
sitting
we?
in this beautiful library.
Yes, it is
overlooking a lovely field.
Yes,
Yeah,
but our libraries are really well equipped to support all of our learners as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so both physical books that we
Yeah.
have or our
Epic
online
and all those
resources.
online
yes.
resources that we
So we are
offer.
constantly, looking for new and innovative ways to also, involve and make our students be more
Yeah.
engaged in
That's
the
right.
class, right?
That's
So these
And
are just, things
Absolutely.
that would help teachers
Yes.
as well.
And all the studios that
Yes.
we have
yes.
in the Punggol campus is a relatively new campus, and it's equipped with multiple studios that help students explore
Explore.
new things.
Have you have you tried that?
They have gone there and been DJs for a day, and they have
Yes.
used it. There have been some restrictions during the COVID, but we are waiting for things to open up again. We have culinary labs,
Yes.
and we have learning commons where students, those breakout spaces where they can come and turn it into anything that they want. One day it is a maker space. Another day it is a puppet theater. Another day it is, a place for them to hold an exhibition.
Wow.
Having these learning commons really helps. We call it
Yes.
learning commons,
Yes.
which typically schools call breakout spaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in
So-
East Coast as well, we have these big, spacious, green, areas where we can also bring our students and our learning outside.
yeah,
We have herbal gardens. We have different gardens.
Right,
and a
lovely.
big sports, sports facility, our big stadium as well.
And we do
So-
believe a lot to be different so that children can go out more often in small groups and
Yes.
do things, because brings me back to the topic of, the world is your classroom. And
Exactly, exactly. Why limit ourselves into our
That's
four
right.
walls only, right?
Yeah. But while we talk about all that, yes, the technology, the technology infrastructure in the school has really helped,
Yes.
especially during the pandemic,
Oh,
won't you say?
yes,
Yeah,
I really agree. As a teacher, I was a bit skeptical at the beginning, but when we immediately went on, circuit breaker at that time last year, okay, I thought that there would be hiccups here and there, but it was seamless, okay, just because our facilities is there, our technology is there, Zoom came up, all our
Yeah.
webinars came up. There were no idle moments.
Glitches and
No glitches, yes. And there was, so even when we had sessions where 50% of our students, I had my class itself, 50% were online now, and then, they were 50 are in physically. That was just easy. It was seamless because, again, in the classroom, we have Zoom rooms in the classroom. We have
Right.
videos, we have microphone, everything just, flow very nicely.
So that was great, that the way the transition to the digital
Yes.
platform happened, and then well, I would just say that we coped very well with it. If you ask me, do I like it? No, I'm waiting for the students to be back
To
full
all be
force,
back, right?
and
To hear
to
them
be able to
buzzing.
work in their small groups, to be able
Exactly.
to engage with each other, to have that that freedom of movement.
Yes.
So without all of which PYP doesn't happen in its full
Yes.
scope
Yes,
and
yes,
breadth.
yes.
So to be honest, I'll go back to that. Have suffered, and many countries around the world have suffered. At least there was, no pause
Yes.
in our education. That continued. Like you said, you used that word seamlessly. It's absolutely what.
Yes. What I enjoyed about virtual learning, though, was I have free flow coffee every time. Okay, so I don't need to even get up, and get
Yeah.
coffee
Some
somewhere.
benefits.
So it's very
So maybe we'll quickly talk a little bit before we wind up about the PYP program itself and how it equips students for life. And I think you and I would both agree that it does equip them for life. We didn't talk about that element of the ATL skills.
yes, our approaches to learning.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We always feel that knowing what learning is is important. Yes, we are not saying that learning these concepts and these topics are not important, but learning how to learn
Yeah.
is also an equally
Absolutely.
important aspect in learning.
Makes you an independent learner,
Exactly.
makes you, you know, a lifelong learner, both of that. So with that in view, the IB has designed the ATL skills. These are again transdisciplinary skills, meaning it runs through all of the subjects. Thinking communication skills, social skills,
Yes.
and self-management,
Yes,
which is very,
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 very
important.
important.
And these skills are a continuum, aren't they,
Yes.
through the other programs in the IB. And these skills also prepare you for life.
For life,
to work,
exactly.
to the real life and to the real life workplace. It sets them up very well for higher education. I would say, especially the critical thinking skills, research skills, PYP curricula. So that's one, this is the element of the PYP that sets students up for life because it makes them learners.
Yes,
Right.
and ready to face the world, right? We are always saying that we are not, we don't even know what's going to happen 5 years from now or 10
Right.
years from now. But knowing that our kids are able to solve problems, you know,
Yes.
confidently, that really brings a different, view
and,
of
change, and those are the
change.
things that we. There's so much more we could talk about,
do.
Odaya, because we
There's a lot
didn't
more.
even touch on the PSPE and
Yes.
the socio-emotional aspect, and so much else about the PYP that really, truly prepares students for life. But maybe we'll leave that to another FB Live session. I
Yes,
think we
yes,
need to
yes.
wind up now and maybe answer a few questions.
Yes, if there are any
Yeah.
questions, let's have a look at the questions from our audience. There is this question, curricula. Would you like to
We
say?
never heard that question before, have we?
All the time. All the time.
All the time, right? Okay, Odaya, what is usually your 3-minute pitch about that? I have
Okay.
my own.
I would usually tell parents that, you know, in other curricula, we are very much focused on knowledge. And at the end of the day, tests.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
bring everything that you know,
Regurgitating it.
and then finish, that's it.
Yeah.
But in the PYP, it's more than that. I'm not saying that knowledge is not important. That is also an important aspect. But at the same time, we look at skills,
Yeah.
the ATL skills that we
Concepts.
were talking about. We look at concepts.
Yeah.
We look at action.
Yes.
We look at values.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
it's more
Focus on ongoing assessments, the constant feedback that students get, rather than preparing for a standardized test or preparing for an exam. You know, they are instead being assessed for performance and for real life, you know, examples of their learning or application of their learning. That's the word I was looking for. So that to me is the key difference. And end of a key stage examination at the end of the primary years or the elementary years, whereas here we have an exhibition. How much more complex, requiring higher order thinking and all of these things that we talked about, self-management skills and thinking
being
skills.
able to even resolve conflict
Absolutely.
within their group.
Driving their own inquiry. So, you know, all this happens in the PYP, which does not, you know, organically happen in other curricula. Students do very well. There is enough research and, you know, continuous research being done. They do very well in other programs, as you know, they they adapt very well to any other program after that, because they've become independent learners.
Yes, exactly. We say something about assessment a while ago, right?
Yes.
There was also another question about our patterns of assessments.
Yeah. Maybe we could talk a little bit about assessments, because we may. And I want to talk about assessments. I did hint at that right now, that assessments are different in the PYP.
It is.
It's not just a test of memory. It's not just pen and paper also.
No,
it is
not just
usually
that.
performance based. It is, it's called authentic assessment because it is performance based, and you assess what you're expecting to see from the students, right? Or what skill you're expecting them to display. So you directly assess that. It's like the other side of the coin, really. Assessment is, you know, deeply connected with the learning engagement itself. It's not something that comes much later.
Yes, no,
right?
we do it every single day as well, okay?
Absolutely.
A simple question and answer could be a formative assessment already,
That's
or a
right.
reflection about their learning. That is already a formative assessment as well. We don't compare each
Yeah.
other, but we look at, you know,
We don't rank students.
no, we don't. We don't. Okay, so there is no such thing as ranking, but
Yeah.
you know, we look at ourselves, how we have progressed
Absolutely.
from here to there. Okay, so from the beginning of the year, what were the things that you have accomplished and be proud of, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, we look at areas where we need to work more on.
Right.
Okay.
So we have two reporting cycles,
Yes.
the two parent and teacher conferences where parents get to meet with the teachers and discuss the child's progress, and this can happen at any time of the year through. There's also a portfolio building,
Yes.
because that is the element that where the student is looking at their own learning journey, and it's not about the assessments that was done to them alone. So it's a very well-rounded assessment pattern or method. Yeah?
Generations of learning where students share
Yeah.
to parents, to other peers of what they have been doing for that past 6 weeks. Okay, and of course at the end of the year we have
Yeah.
student-led conferences as
Yeah,
well.
that's right.
And these are the moments where parents really, I can say 100% attendance all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, in these events they want to actually see, and they're very proud to actually see and, you know, look at the classroom, what is happening in the classroom. Parents, right?
Yeah.
We have we have newsletters, we have weekly reports and stuff like that as
Yeah.
well.
So bringing it back to assessments is not something that's done to the child.
No.
The child is part of the journey,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
What's the other questions
Yes,
that we have?
we have. How will parents get to know about the progress? Oh, we have done that.
Yes.
How parents get to know about
Right
the
through the
progress
year,
of their
right
child.
through the
okay?
year. Yeah,
All
we
throughout
already
the year.
explained that, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you need to speak to the teacher, you know, parent-teacher meetings and stuff happens all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Although we have set PTMs
Yeah.
throughout the year, maybe
And
twice a year,
reporting
right? And
cycles.
reporting
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah.
But if there are any other things that you would want to know more about, the teachers are always, that's why I said teachers are always available.
That's right. And you must not forget the child in this equation.
Yes.
The teachers are constantly, who is the learner there? The child.
Yes.
The teacher. Reflections that they do, a
Yes.
reflection of their learning. So you always know how the child is progressing.
Yes. And then we
what's the next
have,
question?
how did the school conduct PYP classes during
Ah.
COVID, and how do they plan to do so in the future?
Right. We hope there isn't a future. Joking.
We hope COVID will be just, you know, eliminated.
Right, right. But I think we talked a lot about
Yes.
that already, that, you know, we did the word that Odaya kept using, seamlessly transitioned to it and transitioning. Now we are transitioning back. From next
Yes.
week, we will be going back to full strength, right? So because the technology, we are already technologically enabled, that's not ever going to be a problem.
And in fact, even in my class itself, I have 2 students who are in India,
Right.
and they are not able to come back to Singapore yet.
Right.
So even if 100%, I still will have
Absolutely.
to conduct Zoom classes for them, together with my live sessions, together with the other 16 students
Yeah.
that I have.
So we continue to support and offer
Yes.
families
Okay, so
that
that's
support them. Yeah.
because we can't help it. This is, you know, something out of their control as well. Okay, and since we have that facility already in place, we are making full use of that as well.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Manju. I really enjoyed having this session with you.
So did I, Odaya. It's always such fun to talk to another PYP coordinator because the passion is very high, and then, you know, we get carried away. So, so I hope we can do this again. And actually, because there's so much to talk about the PYP.
Okay.
But thank you to our audiences.